I had a podcast the other day and I was so riled up. We were talking about foreplay and this guy was like, I hate it. It's too long. Basically, just get to the, like, just do the thing. And I was like, women need so much more time than you. Like, you're being so selfish.
Mm-hmm.
And he was so enraged and like flustered that he has to do something to help start this. And I'm like, and if we're being honest, foreplay starts before the bedroom.
Yeah.
So if you're even just annoyed with that, however long it's taking you to get her where she needs to be, like, you should want to do that. So how much time does the typical woman need to be properly aroused before penetration?
At least 15 minutes. And that's like concentrated foreplay. That's not like, you know, coming over and slap her butt while she like does dishes. Like that, you know, that's cute, but doesn't count. Like this is where you start kind of kissing and merging and touching and grabbing and, you know, brushing the hair and all the good things, all the sensations, like at least 15 minutes. And some people think that's extremely long. I talked to someone who measures their sexual encounter based on number of songs. And they were like, that's 5 songs. I usually do a foreplay for 1 song. And then I go, baby, can I put it in? I'm like, no. Like there will be times where some people enjoy quickies. Like I enjoy a quickie sometimes if I go on. Like one thing that turns me on a lot is being in nature. Because I think it's something about like being outside and it's taboo. And also like nature is just, it feels like so primitive. I want like a hidden quickie somewhere. and that's fine. Like we're not going to be, you know, kissing and, you know, massaging in the middle of the forest for 15 minutes. And is my vagina wet yet? Like, not necessarily, because I'm not there yet physically. However, mentally, I want to do it because I'm horny. And there is a concept called arousal non-concordance. And where sometimes you are mentally horny, but you're physically not wet yet. And the same with men. Sometimes you're mentally horny, but you're not hard yet. Or vice versa. Like you're physically hard, but like mentally, I'm not there. Like I'm too tired. Or you're physically wet, but you're also not mentally there, not ready. You feel like there is a boundary, there is a barrier, like you don't want to do it. So it's complex. But at the end of the day, concentrated foreplay should be at least 15 minutes. And that can be everything from kissing, massaging, licking, even oral. I count oral as sex, but a lot of people count oral as foreplay, and that's fine. But all in all, women's female bodies cannot get wet without foreplay. And so, yeah, it's extremely important, not just about getting wet and physically being ready and engorged, but also mentally. I think with adequate and amount of foreplay, women feel more affection, feel more love. So when you skip the foreplay and you're just like, oh, can I put it in? You're missing a huge part of affectionate communication and expressing love, because that's how a lot of women feel the love. So yeah, never skip foreplay.
No, never skip it. With the non-concordance, there was this study where they were tracking arousal rate with men and women, and they were comparing the two, and then they were showing different images. And I think it ranged from like solo, guy, girl, guy, and even bonobos copulating. And then are you familiar with this study?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like with the women, they had a lot more detectable arousal according to the study. And then I learned about non-concordance, and the way that I learned about it, what I learned was that a woman getting wet, it's not necessarily arousal. It can be non-concordant. So it's just the recognition of, is this sex? Is this not sex? Is this sex related? Is this not sex related? So do you think, because what the summary of the original research was that women tend to be a little bit more fluid, like they're open to more sexual possibilities, which I've found true in my experience. But then I've heard other people kind of counter this research and say it didn't accurately depict arousal. All it's saying is sex or not sex. What is your opinion on that research?
My opinion is I think that women are more fluid.
Me too.
Than men. And this is by just the number of, for example, like the number of bisexual women out there and women who are gender fluid and versus bisexual men and men who are heteroflexible. There's a lot more women that are heteroflexible than men. When I go to, play parties or sex positive communities, I see a lot more women that are flexible, that are heteroflexible than men. Mm-hmm. When it comes to arousal and whether or not that study is accurately depicting it, I think that the more fruitful conversation is what types of behaviors, what types of things need to happen outside of sexuality for people to foster more arousal and desire in their life, right? Mm-hmm. Like I love how scientists love to like get to the very, the numbers, like the effect size of a study and but to me, like when you really start talking to people and experiencing people in real life, you realize like, wow, most of people's issues is outside and they cannot not bring it to the bedroom. Like if a wife like that I talk to, that I help, is annoyed with the husband outside of sexuality, like she cannot have sex with him. Mm-hmm. If she's annoyed that he doesn't help her carry groceries, or if she's annoyed that he missed another deadline to pay bills or whatever, she cannot feel horny. Mm-hmm. There will be no arousal. Whether or not it's physical arousal, mental arousal, whatever it is, there won't be arousal. So it's really a much more holistic conversation rather than like when people ask like, how do we have a better sex life? It's like, you need a better life in general. Yeah. You need a better romantic life in general. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't have great romantic life after 5 years of marriage or being together.
Is that usually when you see it start to dip?
Yeah.
So with that, I guess I'll lead with, this is an evolutionary biology thing, which I have a love-hate relationship with. Because sometimes I'm like, this is so fascinating, but my hate part comes in with, well, now you know that, but you have this big, beautiful frontal lobe and you can make different decisions. And That's the part no one wants to talk about.